Tour Junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? Your Tour Junkies podcast for the Sony Open 2021. We're ready to get at it. DB here. Pat Perry was here. Now he's getting out of the screen. Oh, now he's back in. Great. What's up, Pat? We are ready to rock and roll on this lovely Monday night of the Sony Open. Many of you are probably watching a football game right now, but me and Pat aren't, because you know why? Because we don't care, because the Bulldogs aren't playing in it. So you know what? I don't care who wins. I hope the refs win. That's what I hope. Pat's flipping on a banging jacket. What is that jacket you got there, Pat?
Well, you know, I was getting a little chilly in my room here. So, you know, I just figured I'd put on one of our new jackets. Long shot season right there.
Which we may get a little bit of that this week. You know, last week with the Century Tournament of Champions, it wasn't as likely, only 42 guys in the field. But this week, 144 players, I think we could get a little bit of that long shot.
Yeah, I agree. I even got a few long shots I'm going to take.
Lovely. Pat, what's the podcast juice tonight? Myself, I'm having a little, I'm switching it up tonight. I'm going with a little Wild Leap Side Bay. This is my Side Bay, my double IPA. It's delicious.
I like that. Well, I went with the little Hawaiian theme, and this is the Kona Brewing Company. See that? This is their Golden Ale. Okay, so
love it. Producer Sam is back here working for us. We appreciate Sam. Ready to rock and roll. We're gonna have a great show tonight. He's drinking something weird. I don't know what he's drinking. He's drinking, I don't know, some kind of. He's eating like carrots and hummus and some sort of weird beer. So we're just not gonna. Oh, Yingling. My bad. Okay, not a weird beer. Yingling is what it is. That's Producer Sam. Let's get to it. First off, Harris English wins the Century Tournament of Champions at 33-1. Didn't have him on the betting card, but this is why you need to be in the Nut Hut, because on Thursday morning in the Nut Hut, I was chatting it up with some members, and I said something. I said, you know what? Harris English is going under the radar. I've warmed up on him, kind of like your FGS play, Pat. Your pop the cork and let it breathe play of the week. That's kind of what happened to English for me on Thursday morning, and put him in there in the Nut Hut. Hopefully, some people made a lot of money. Neiman, I did write up in the bet card. Me and you both love Neiman on the show. And just, you know what? If he wouldn't have been sitting picnicking with Sergio and his girlfriend and doing whatever he was doing, maybe between the, waiting around on the playoff, maybe he could have won something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Neiman was fantastic. I think I saw he made like 31 birdies the entire week, which is just incredible.
Wow.
Speaking of birdies, how about you and the monkey knife fight thing? Just starting off just hot.
Bang.
I mean,
a monkey knife fight lock prop of the week. I gave it the maximum confidence rating I could give it on tourjunkies.com. It's a free article. Every week I'm going to take my favorite monkey knife fight prop and just tell you how confident I am. Rate it $1 through $4 signs. I told you that one last week was a $4 sign lock, and it hit. Let's see. I think DJ needed 62 out of 72 holes, and Rom and JT only needed 59 out of 72 holes, and it hit. It was easy money. Sign up for Monkey Knife Fight right now. Promo code Tour Junkies gets you a deposit bonus. That was nice. Also, a highlight from last week was your Fantasy Golf Sommelier video that went up on YouTube. It was freaking hysterical. I don't really know if any fantasy content was all that pertinent, but I don't remember any of it. At least I just remember it was very funny. I know you're gonna change it up a little bit this week, and the viewers can expect a little, maybe slightly, different format into tomorrow's video, Tuesday's video. But I'm really excited about the FGS series on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna always try to bring the humor in there, but I'm probably gonna, these first few weeks, I'm gonna play with a little bit of a different format from week to week. But we'll get it kind of nailed down. But it was fun. I think it's actually way better than the actual article. I don't have to worry about you getting upset about grammatical errors, because you're the grammar police. Everybody can't stand the grammar police, and that's what you are. I mean, you are. I mean, I'm not saying people can't stand you. They just can't stand the grammar police. And so
Well, I'm pretty sure people can't stand me either, but that's it's my cross to bear. Speaking of videos, Chalk Bomb Ben's head-to-head matchups betting video comes out this week as well. He's going to start that this week. It's going to be on YouTube. Look for it on Tuesday evening, maybe. It should be a great video. He's going to break down his 3 favorite head-to-head matchups in the betting market, walk you through his process, show you some data that he finds on these golfers. He's going to really defend the play. He's going to keep track of those picks all year. It's going to be a shorter video, maybe 10 minutes, 15 max. That's going to be up on the YouTube as well. The Chalk Bomb email is back this week. You're going to get the Chalk Bomb delivered to your inbox on Wednesday evening. If you've not already subscribed, go to tourjunkies.com, bottom right-hand corner of any page on the website. You can put your email address in there and subscribe to the Chalk Bomb. Finally, our Nut Hut Listener League. We had a winner last week. Segment 2 started last week. If you're not familiar, if you're a Nut Hut member, you get invited to a free DraftKings contest with other Nut Hut members every single week. And every winner every week is going to get to the finals. And the winner of the finals is going to get a chance to come to Augusta, Georgia and play some golf with me and Pat at Champions Retreat. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited about it. And there's a lot of ways to win. You can win a weekly contest or you can win a total segment. So there's all kind of details in the Nut Hut, but you got to sign up on tourjunkies.com. But at BC Winter, Barrett Winter won. His lineup scored 716.5 DraftKings points with Harris English, Joaquin Neiman, Sung J M, Daniel Berger, Sebastian Munoz, and Adam Scott. So pretty awesome lineup there. He went balanced. He didn't really go studs and duds. So shout out to Barrett. Thanks for playing in that. Last announcement is I will be on the Pat Mayo show this week. So on Tuesday afternoon, the DFS show is coming out with Pat Mayo. I'll be over there. So check that out. Me and Pat getting together should be a good time. My life is full of Pats. So it's a good time. Looking forward to it. I think that's all I got, man. Pat, I'm ready to hear about the course breakdown. Waialae Country Club here in Honolulu, I think it is, right?
Yes, it is. And this is a great course, Waialae Country Club. They have played. This is, I think, the longest running event on tour as far as on a particular course. I think they've been doing this since 1965 here, but it is a par 70 playing just over 7,000 yards. We got a full field event this week. T65 and ties are going to make the cut. Bermuda grass from tee to green. These greens roll pretty quick, and they roll pretty true to form as far as Bermuda is concerned. Very small greens. And so when you look at this course, there's just a few things really that you've got to do well here. I mean, it's not that tricked up. It's pretty straightforward. You got to drive the ball well off the tee. You got to make sure you've got a good angle to get into these greens and approach these small greens. And you got to scramble well if you do miss the greens. So I think that's important. But look, I mean, it's not really that difficult of a course. It typically plays as one of the easiest courses on tour. There are only 2 par 5s on this course. You got to hammer those par 5s. I mean, you've got to make birdies when you get to the par 5s and take advantage of that. That is key this week. But I'm definitely looking at strokes gained approach. I'm looking at good drives gained. That's something on Fantasy National, a stat that I like, something I'm going to look at. Definitely your ball strikers and course history and recent form. A quick note that I made on this in this tournament is the last 6 of 7 winners this week at the Sony Open have all played in the Tournament of Champions in 7 of the last 10. So maybe a little trend to be looking at going into this week. But there you go. That is the quick version of Waialae Country Club. Looking forward to getting to it. I love that we got a full cut event this week too.
Well, and I'm looking at it. Actually, if you take it back even further, 15 of the last 22 winners played Kapalua the week before, and 14 of the last 15 winners have played at Waialae before. So course experience matters here. Obviously, arriving to Hawaii, having played Kapalua, like you said, clearly helps. Yeah, I think any kind of talent off the tee can win here. I love the good drives gained stat that you bring up. That's a proprietary Fantasy National stat. Love the opportunities gained stat as well. Small greens, like you said, got to make a ton of birdies here. Last year, the weather was tough, just like the Century was tough last year with weather. Last year, this place was tough too, and you saw higher scoring, the highest scores that we've seen since like 2010, I believe, when Cam Smith beat Brendan Steele. But you also, speaking of long shot season, Pat, if you look at past winners here, I mean, Cam Smith was 55-1. Patton Kizzire a few years before that was 80-1. One of the first big bets that I ever hit on this very podcast was back in 2016 for Fabian Gomez at 100-1. Russell Henley won at 100-1. Johnson Wagner at 125-1. And how about this? Back in 2010, a guy who's playing really good right now, Ryan Palmer, won this event at 250-1. So you can have long shot winners hit this week. And you also had Patrick Reed and Victor Hovland withdraw. So you've got, two of the bigger names, studs in the shorter betting markets that have withdrawn. So I think this is definitely shaping up to potentially be a longer shot winner. But yeah, it's about hitting these greens in regulation, making the putts on Bermuda. It's very grainy Bermuda. We've heard from some caddies in the past that this around the greens and the fairways is thick, kind of tough Bermuda. Guys got to be comfortable chipping out of that stuff. So I actually looked at obviously good drives gained, as you mentioned, opportunities gained, strokes gained approach. And I'm looking at Bermuda studs, but not just putting, also chipping, strokes gained around the green on courses where we do have Bermuda. Now, apparently, we also have a regular listener who is, I guess, he's got a rant about stats. I guess he's against stats. So Marcus Miklovich wants to get in here, and Marco wants to get in here and debate some stats or something. I don't know what his deal is, but we could bring him in, Sam, if he's available. Wait a minute. Is he available? Is he coming? Marcus, this guy.
Can you hear me? Am I here?
I can hear you, Marcus. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm here. Good. I'm on sound only.
Marcus, what are you doing, man? What's your problem?
I got a problem with stats. I don't like them. I don't like strokes gained. I don't like models. I don't like any of this other than learning to look how a player plays, what the player's profile is.
Huh.
So if you look at it, strokes gained stats are versus the field, right?
Yep.
So if a guy gains a lot of stats in a crappy field, then he's just gaining stats versus that field. If you look at a person that's gaining strokes versus an elite field, he is playing better golf than that the person is gaining a lot of strokes on the crappy field.
Okay.
Better players just across the board.
So just strokes gained better players is all you're looking at.
Yes.
Marcus, I feel like you lose a shit ton of money playing DFS. What is this? What are you doing? You're trying to get in here and make people lose money playing DFS. You gotta have some stats, man. Listen, you gotta be able to see like how you got there, man. It's the the saying, it's not the destination, it's the journey, Marcus. How did we get here? How did we get to this point? Yeah, I can see Harris English won a golf tournament. Marcus just wants to stop. He just wants to stop. Marcus, are you there? We're lagging here. I guess the internet can't handle this hellish take you have. You know what? Marcus is clearly out of here.
Well, that was a good try.
That was a good try.
That was a good try is all I could say.
Yeah.
We got to love Marcus too. Longtime listener, follower of TJ, just a fantastic dude. Does he have the nickname Crazy Marcus? Think he does, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't, that's affectionate. That's an affectionate nickname.
Yeah.
I think if we had a little bit better connection there, I think that the argument, he was getting somewhere with it. I get tired of stats too. I mean, I think when you're, you talk about this all the time, David. I mean, you talk about this literally, not every show, but it's the most variable game that there is. So you can't always just look at stats. That's why I like to watch a lot of golf and see how these guys are playing. And that's where I think recent form plays into a lot of the guys that I'm choosing. But yeah, I do agree that stats in general are at least something you need to use as a guide. But I am never a person that's going to have a model that I'm going to say, okay, well, if this guy isn't in my model, then I'm just not going to take him. If I've seen him playing well, then I'm going to take him.
We're not big model guys. I run one. I think Pat looks at one, or maybe he knows how to spell it or something. I don't know. But we've never been huge model guys. We definitely like watching a lot of golf and kind of reading between the lines. And I'll tell you what, man, actually, this is pretty relevant to I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth here. This is what I do. I do this best. Our Henrik Norlander interview that we just posted on YouTube. And if you're looking at it going, oh, Henrik Norlander, I don't want to listen to Henrik Norlander. Who the heck is that guy? Well, let me just tell you, Norlander almost made $1.3 million on the PGA Tour last year. He's a 76th ranked golfer in the world. He won 2 collegiate national titles with Patrick Reed at Augusta State. He's one of the best ball strikers on the planet. But his interview was so insightful, and the perspective he had was so good. But also at one point in the interview, he said something. I look at him and I go, so basically what you're saying is like, we're complete idiots for trying to handicap golfers and golf tournaments. And he's like, yeah, pretty much you are, because there is so much that goes on behind the scenes that we have no idea. We laugh and say sometimes it's strokes gained home life, right? It's the stuff that we'll never know about some of these players, about what's going on. And Henrik enlightened us to some of that stuff. But I mean, the more, spend time with Kiz, Charles Howell, some of these guys that we're close to, Joel Damon, Gino, JT Post and Fleener, Swedberg, some of the coaches we know, like the more we talk to these guys when the microphones aren't on, the more you hear that there are so many things about this that are just are unknowable, like unless you are in the tightest of circles. So I do feel like you can put way too much weight on data and on stats. I think that's very true. But Marcus out there in California with Gavin Newsom running his internet problems, he can just shut it, because I mean you can't just throw stats out the window, Marcus. You just can't. You just got to have a balance. You know what I mean? We got to balance it out. All right, rant over there. We'll try to work the kinks out with the listener call-in stuff, but we want to make that more of a regular thing. I guess Marcus didn't want to put his mug on the screen either, because we could have had him on video, but I guess he didn't want to do that.
I don't know, with the lag we seem to have right now. I don't know if that would have worked out too well.
Could be bad, but
whatever. Okay.
Let's get into some DraftKings plays, Pat. We're gonna kick it off with 9K and above range on DraftKings. 3 GPP picks and a fade in the 9K and above. I will let you start, sir. What you going to do?
Well, I'm going to start at the very top. And you know what? I wanted to fade this guy at first, but I'm going to play some Webb Simpson this week at 11-1. I know the price is high, but I do think there's some value in the lower range, especially in that lower 7K range that I like. So I like Webb. I mean, this is just a perfect course for him. I mean, if you want to look at the type player that this course fits, it is Webb Simpson. I mean, great ball striker, great on approach. He putts well on Bermuda. I mean, all of these things fit the mold for Webb Simpson. So I think that he is a great play. I'm sure he's probably going to have higher ownership. I don't care. Oh, no. I'm still going to play him. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. If he doesn't, I'll even like to play even more. But you look across the board, the stats I mentioned. I mean, he's top 10 in strokes gained around the green, checks the box on approach and then ball striking. I mentioned that. He's 4th in the field in putting on Bermuda. He's 5th in that good drives gained stat. So I like Webb at 11-1. Also going to go back to the well with our boy Joaquin Niemann at 10-4. The guy's just been on fire lately, and this is another course that he should play well on. One of the things I like about Niemann, the more and more you watch him, it's just how many different. Well, I didn't. You said that. I didn't say that, but yeah, I mean, maybe that's something. But it's just how many different shots he can hit and how he shapes the ball, and his, he's just got sort of a natural feel to the game that I like with him. So, and he's 2nd in the field in ball striking, top 10 in strokes gained approach. He's number 1 in par 4 scoring, 14th in good drives gained. So I like some Niemann at 10-4. My last GPP play is Sung J M at 9,800. Now, he was my pop the court play last week on the FGS video. This is another course that I think is just perfect for him as long as he can scramble okay. Maybe, let's just hope he doesn't miss any greens, because that's the thing. Scrambling is literally across the board, everything's good. Outside of scrambling, he's 117th in the field. Let's just hope that he hits all the greens and we don't have to worry about that. But I still like him at 9,800. And then my fade is going to be Adam Scott at 9,000, a guy that came out the blocks hot last week at Cap. Still not sure it's all there. I think he said in that first round was one of the best in forever. still not a huge believer of him yet, and he's not really popping for me at all. So Adam Scott will be my fade at 9,000. There you go.
Well, speaking of your pop the cork and let it breathe play and your FGS article, I do think we got to shout out our friends at Wine Access, which we told you about last week. If you guys like wine, if you want to get into wine Access, go to wineaccess.com/tour, get 20% off your first order at Wine Access. It's a really cool site. Lets you shop a bunch of different wines. I love that you can shop by category, by occasion. So if you don't know what in the world you're talking about, you can look it up that way. When they send you the wine, they send you some incredible information on the wine. Not just the detailed stuff that if you're like really into wine, you want to know, but the stuff that if you're like a wine idiot like me, that like you could halfway rattle off and sound impressive, and how long to let the wine breathe and all this kind of stuff. It's very, very cool. You get a 100% money back guarantee on all the wines. They get wines from places that other stores can't, and they get kind of special selections from big wine vineyards and things like that they're kind of first to market with or other people can't get. They make it easy to drink well. They have a master sommelier on staff helping select their wines. Unlike Pat, he's a real sommelier. Very cool. Yeah. Pat, what's the most recent wine you're enjoying there at Wine Access?
Well, it's the Seven Roads something from Olaf Winery.
Jeez. Okay. Fantastic.
The name I forgot the damn name of the wine, but it was so good. It was a blend. It was fantastic. It had the flavors were unreal. It was some good shit. So yeah, if you like wine, the thing about it is it's not like they're just throwing stuff up on the site and getting it from anywhere. It is good stuff. It's good wine. You get to pick and choose. It's not like you have to it's not like you have to choose only reds or only whites or whatever. You can mix and match and do all these kind of things. So it's a great site. And like you said, I like having to know the wine tasting notes so that I sound smart when I'm talking about the wine.
You sounded real smart in the FGS video talking about it. It was really nice. They also have a podcast called Wine Access Unfiltered, and they have celebrities and athletes, and they drink wine. They talk about it. They tell stories. It's kind of cool. You can check that out. But head over to wineaccess.com/tour to get 20% off your first order. We appreciate those guys for helping us out. All right, I'll make this pretty quick and easy for me. I'm going to go. So I think the debate here this week in terms of the 9K and above range is, and it is this way every week. You're going to commit to the studs and duds, or you're going to go balanced. And when I look down at the lower range on DraftKings, I just can't bring myself to play too high up top. But I will say that if I were, my pick would be Webb Simpson. I was going to go Webb, but at the last minute, I'm deciding to go a little more balanced. I'm going to go with your boy Sung J M, who you talked about. Really love to see what he did last week. He's making his second appearance at Waialae, and I love that. Actually, his third appearance at Waialae. But I love how good he is on Bermuda. Sung Jae's playing so well on Bermuda. I love that he can get up and down if he needs to, because they're gonna miss more greens this week than we saw last week, right? So when you miss them, you better be able to get up and down. I'm playing Sung Jae. I'm playing Daniel Berger. It's brutal to see his Sunday. He just did not play well on Sunday at all, but wrote him up on the betting card as well, and he just fizzled on Sunday when he had a chance. But the ball striking was there. The play was there. Just didn't quite turn it up a notch on Sunday. But I think Berger on Bermuda, coastal course, it's the same story. Second verse here in Hawaii for DB straight vibin is who Daniel Berger would be at 10,000. And then I'm going to go with the guy who was the chalk last week, and I happened to play him, and he happened to help me make some money on DraftKings, and that's Ryan Palmer, your 2010 Sony Open champion. That's right, 2010 Sony Open champion, $9,200. But you can't argue with how good Ryan Palmer has been playing. And he played well here last year with a T4 here at Waialae. But I mean, he's striking the ball well. He's putting it well. I mean, he's just doing everything solid. And I think he's riding a different level of confidence, if you ask me. I mean, I think when you saw the runner-up at Memorial, you saw he had a pretty decent summer. 8th place at the RBC Heritage, which you could kind of compare to this place, coastal, not super long, grainy Bermuda. I think there's something to what Ryan Palmer's doing right now. 4th place last week, like I said, and a 4th at the Zozo. So back-to-back 4th place finishes. I really like Palmer. here. And my fade is going to be last week's champ. And I hate to do it, but I'm going to fade Harris English. Now, listen, he's playing unbelievable right now, but it is his first win in 7 years. I think it's a big monkey off his back. He's got to feel relieved, which is great. And I think that will have a long-lasting impact for him, and I think he's going to have a fantastic season. And I bet he could win again. But you're getting him now at a much higher price, 10-8 in this field. I don't know that I want to pay 10-8 for Harris English. There could be a little bit of a letdown here. I like the balance build. It's definitely more of a price and lineup structure play here with Harris English. But I will say his last top 10 here at the Sony Open was 2015. He was 13th out of 42 in strokes gained tee to green last week at the Century, but he was first in putting. He did all his damage with the putter, which is very typical Harris English. Now, it wasn't bad tee to green, obviously, top third of the field. But definitely if he has a letdown ball striking wise, the irons aren't going to blow you away. His irons aren't Colin Morikawa, Sung J M, right, Daniel Berger kind of irons. He does a lot of damage with the putter. He's making everything. So I think at 10-8, I think it's the wise play to go ahead and tell Harris English, see you later. So let's talk about the 8K range, 2 GPP plays and a fade. I'm going to go back to the well. I talked him up last week, and he didn't have a bad week, but I don't know. I'm going to go back with Kevin Kisner, our boy, at 8,800. When you look at Bermuda putters, he's third in this field over the last 36 rounds of putting on Bermuda. The iron play has been solid. The record here is also pretty good. I mean, T4 last year, T4 in 2017, T5 in 2016. He's on the record talking about how much he loves this place. We got to see him play Kapalua. We talked about the Kapalua storyline where if guys who play the week before tend to do so much better here. You're going to hear that a ton all week from a bunch of people. I definitely want to lean on that a little bit. I'm not going to only play guys that played Kapalua, but I want to lean on that, and I like Kiss here, especially again with that balanced build. And then I'm going to go down to Lanto Griffin at 8,100. T7 here last year. This will be his third attempt at the Sony Open. But he actually had a good week last week. He kind of came back from a tough start, I believe, and ended up finishing T13 at the Century Tournament of Champions. But he checks a lot of boxes in terms of, ball striking. Great iron player, top 20 in the field, really, in opportunities gained and strokes gained approach. Putts really good on Bermuda. He's 7th in the field over the last 36 rounds, putting on Bermuda. So I'll go with a little Lanto Griffin. I think this feels like an event Lanto could win. And so I like the win equity there at 8,100. And I think he's probably going to be a nice pivot from the course horse at Waialae, which is Charles Howell III, right there at 8K. My fade here is going to be a first-timer who didn't play last week. So if you look at the trends, first-timers don't win here. Doesn't mean they can't do well, but they don't win. They don't win, and people who don't play Kapalua the week before don't win either. And that would be Eric Van Rooyen. Here's the thing about Eric Van Rooyen I looked at. I like Eric Van Rooyen, handsome guy, tall drink of water, wears joggers. I'm all about that. South African, right? We all like the South Africans. I like Eric Van Rooyen. Hits the ball a long way. Cool guy. But I had no idea just how lackluster his PGA Tour career has kind of been. He's played in 21 events. He only has 2 top 10s in 21 events. 2. Now, he's got some top 20, some top 25s. He played okay in a few majors, but 2 top 10s. And so that kind of upside for a guy who in the DFS streets is kind of a favorite. A lot of people like him. I'm going to pass on him, having never played here and did not play last week. So that's my fade.
Okay, well, one of our plays is definitely the same in this range, and that is Kiz. I love him this week. I think he's just a lock. I'm going to play him. If you play cash, I would play him there, but I love him in tournaments as well. So, and I think that price is perfect with it for him at 8,800. And look, I mean, like you said, this is just a perfect course for him. He loves it. I could see him easily winning this tournament. So I will play some Kiz. I like Zach Johnson. I was on him, I kept kind of trickling him in late last year, and he continued to play well, had a top 10 finish at the RSM Classic. He's at 8,500. I think this is a good course for him. I mean, you look at the stats, he's top 15 in approach. He's 10th in the field in par 4 scoring. He's 3rd in good drives gained. He putts well in Bermuda. I like Zach here, and I think this is a great spot for him. And I feel like his ownership is certainly going to be, not terribly high. My fade is actually Russell Henley at 8,700. Going to fade the dog.
Bold fade there.
And I think, the stats are certainly going to line up for him. And he's been in relatively good form. The putting with him, everybody always just thinks of Russell Henley as being this great putter. And for the most part, he is. And Bermuda is his best surface. But if you just look at the last year, he has lost strokes putting even out of his last
terrible.
10, it's been terrible. It's really been bad. So I don't see the win equity there with Russell Henley. I don't see the upside there. I think he's going to be higher owned than he probably should be. So he will be my fade in this range. So there you go.
All right, give me some 7K love. 3 GPP plays and a fade.
All right, well, I'll start with a former champion, 700, and that is Patton Kizzire. Now, he's a guy that we have seen play a lot better recently than he had over the last couple of years. Obviously, he won here. He was top 15 the year after he won here and then missed the cut last year. But I think Kizzire is kind of trending in the right direction. I think he's got the game turned around. He definitely checks a box in that par 5 scoring, which I mentioned. You've got to score well in these par 5s here. He's top 10 there. He's 2nd in the field in putting on Bermuda. So I think Kizzire is I like the way his game has been recently. So at 7,700, I will play him. I like Russell Knox also at 7,400. He is another guy that we have seen playing relatively well lately. You look at his last few events, he was, T23 at the OHL at Mayakoba, top 15 at the Houston Open, top 16 at Bermuda. He did miss the cut at the RSM, but for the most part, Knox has been on a pretty good run of recent form. I like that. And then also when you look at his stats as well, definitely checking some boxes there. He's top 30 in the field across the board in ball striking, approach, strokes gained around the green, top 10 in good drives gained. So I like some Russell Knox there at 7,400. And I like Ches Reavie also at 7,400. He's another guy that we've seen have some good success on this course. Great ball striker, great on approach. Was it this tournament? Was it last year when he had 2 hole outs in one round? Like it was crazy. Like he had 3. And you're looking at it like something's wrong with the shot tracker here, but it wasn't. This is another just good course for Reavie. And I think you play him this week also at 7,400. So there you go. The fade for me is Leishman. I want to like Leishman so bad. I really do.
Your team course history, too. His history's so good here.
I know. But you look across. Look at his stats right now. They're terrible. And since the restart, he's been awful for the most part. He's 101st in ball striking, 96th in approach, 112th around the green, 111th in good drives gained. The guy's just not playing well right now. And he was playing so good at the early part of last year, but since the restart, pretty terrible. I will fade Mark Leishman at 7,900.
I will not say Cam Davis. I will not say Cam Davis. I will not say Cam Davis. I will not.
I knew you were going to say that. I even avoided talking about him.
I'm going to start off my 7K picks here with a guy that, everybody liked last week, and I think for good reason. Sebastian Munoz, $7,800, continues to play solid golf. Was last week maybe a little disappointing? I don't think so. T17, but not bad at all, I think, for Munoz. He's had some really good tournaments here in the fall, and really since the restart, he seems like a different player. You talk about Leishman being a different player in a bad way. I think Munoz has come out pretty good here in a good way. Ball striking is there. Everything is just solid across the board. Does well on Bermuda. Another player who's had some success on some coastal courses like this. I like playing the Kapalua angle from last week as well. Another guy who played Kapalua last week and didn't play as well, but that's Carlos Ortiz at 7,500. He finished 37th at the Tournament of Champions just last week. I don't love that. This is his 4th or 5th time at Waialae, and no great finishes to speak of, but I do think in terms of a GPP play, I think that's where Ortiz is going to come into play. Remember, Ortiz just won his first PGA Tour event back in the fall at the Houston Open, and then followed that up with an 8th place finish at Mayakoba, which is a very comparable course to here. And I'm believing in a little bit of confidence boost for Ortiz. And if you look at good drives gained, he's 25th in this field. If you look at strokes gained around the green and putting on Bermuda, he ranks very high there as well. The irons are a little suspect, but I think this is a tournament play that I'm leaning into the trends of a guy who's not making his first appearance at the Sony, who just played Kapalua, and who can drive. Who's a good total driver of the golf ball and coming off of a recent win. So that's kind of the angle for Ortiz, and I'm sure I would suspect he'd be somewhere like sub 8% in a lot of tournaments on DraftKings. Okay, for my third play in the 7K range, I am going to go with Sepp Straka. I'm going to go with Sepp Straka, UGA boy.
It took you a second for that to come out of your mouth. Were you on the fence there?
I had to bounce my eyes. To another location. Sepp coming in with some decent form, making cuts, top 5 finish at the Houston, T21 at Bermuda. So he's making cuts. He's playing well. He's trending nicely. I like that. But Sepp's a ball striker, and he this is his 3rd time playing here, but he checks a lot of boxes, man. I mean, he checks a ton of boxes. Where is he? I'll tell you the boxes he checks. Where the hell is
Get some boxes.
Here he is. Okay. The irons are just incredible. 8th in the field in strokes gained approach and 16th in opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds. I really like the upside for Sepp, $7,100, and this is long shot. This is a potential long shot, tournament here. I love that for Sepp. So those are my 3 tournament plays. I'm not going to say a bonus play. My fade is going to be a guy I didn't like last week, and it didn't hurt me that I didn't like him last week, and that's Jason Kokrak. Finished T35 at the Century Tournament of Champions last week.
He got up there for a little while. It's
a 4-day tournament, Pat. It's a 4-day tournament. This is only his this is his 5 attempts here. He's played here 5 times, but he hasn't played only once in the last 5 years. That was in 2018 where he finished T47 in his 5 attempts at Waialae. He is minus 12 strokes gained approach. So he doesn't hit his irons well at this place, doesn't enjoy the small greens, I'm guessing, or potentially the tighter fairways that require him to hit out of the rough. And last week at Kapalua, he is negative in every single category. Off the tee, approach, around the green, putting, the whole thing. And in the last 36 rounds on Bermuda, he is 105th in strokes gained putting. Kokrak does not like Bermuda grass. We did just see him break through his first win a few weeks back in the fall, but since then it hasn't been great. I think I'll pass on the name Jason Kokrak because I think he's still someone in DFS circles people want to play. By the way, just real quick, I'll throw this out there. If I were going to start a cash lineup, I like Sung Jae, Sebastian Munoz, and one person we've not talked about, Charles Howell III. I mean, 19 of 19 cuts he's made here. He's got like 2 runner-ups, 2 top 3s, 4 top 5. I mean, it's ridiculous. He loves his place, loves Waialae. It'll be interesting to see the ownership projections on him come Wednesday night, Thursday morning. He's definitely the chalk donkey of the week here at Waialae. But we love Charles. He's our boy. So This is his 20th appearance at Waialae. 20th. That's ridiculous. I'm trying to think of what I've done 20 times in my life. What have I done 20 times? Pat, I mean, like, have you gone to church 20 times in your life, or like, I don't know, read 20 books in your life?
I definitely haven't read 20 books. I've gone to church 20 times for sure.
All right, let's get to the 6K range. Any plays here that you like?
Yeah, there's a lot of plays that I like. And
sure,
I will start. I got to start with my boy. I mean, in 2020, I loved him near the end of the year. In 2021, I'm going to ride him some more. And that is, who do you think it is?
Who we riding? Doug Gim.
Doug Gim.
Me
Yes.
too, man. I'm on the Gim train. I'm going to act like I was never not on the Gim train. I'm going to act like I have never said a harsh word about Doug Gim.
You were.
I love Doug Gim this week.
No,
I've been on him
to the
since day
people.
one.
You lied.
Since he came out during college, I've always loved Doug Gim. I'm like, man, that Doug Gim guy just looks like a golfer. You know, he's got a great haircut. All the stuff that makes up a great golfer. I've always said that about Doug Gim. And go ahead, Pat. You like him too?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if all that's true or not, but yeah, I mean, listen, Gim is a great player and been in fantastic form. When you look at the stats for him, I mean, he's right there in ball. He's top 10 in the seventh in good drives gained, top gambling. So I think that Gim is again a great play this week, as he has been all fall, and he's going to continue that for 2021. I like him a lot, so I will play him. I also like right there next to him, Peter Malnati at 6,900. He's another guy that's checking some boxes for me. When you look at approach, you look at par 4 scoring, he's number 1 in the field in putting on Bermuda. He has been in pretty good recent form as well, so I like some Peter Malnati there, right there at 6,900. I think that's a good price for him. And, he's played here actually 5 times and had a top 15 last year. He was T12. A few years ago, he was T27. So he's had some success on this course. So for a cheap guy, I think he's got some upside also. And then going down to 6,400, a guy that has played here twice, finished T45 last year. He is checking some boxes as well. And that is Kramer Hickok. Kramer Hickok.
Okay.
No, I like him also. Checks the box in approach, ball striking, good drives gained. We've seen him have some good recent form as well in the fall. He's always seems to be pretty cheap and kind of pop. He might be a guy that could end up being like a first-round leader or something like that. But you look at his last couple events, had a T58 at Houston, had a top 10 at Bermuda. So, a coastal course with some wind and whatever else, and a shorter course where we saw like Brian Gay win. I think Kramer Hickok could have a good week here at 6,400. You can take a flyer on him. So there you go. Those are my 3 GPP plays in the 6K range.
Couple of Texas Longhorns you got there. Well, actually, I had Gim written down. I also kind of had a little peek at Malnati, so I'm there with you. A lot of agreement here. I don't love this range, which really means that I'm going to have a lot of homework to do between now and Wednesday night or Thursday morning when I'm in the Nut Hut chat and the most popular effing Nut Hut question of all time comes up. Hey guys, who do you like under 7K? And I got to have a better answer other than just saying Doug Gim. So I got to do some research. But other than Gim and Malnati, I'm kind of a sucker for Wesley Bryan down here. Super cheap, still playing on a major medical, needing to have some good finishes. This feels like a tournament, a golf course that could suit his play, his abilities. Not super long. He's pretty accurate. Good wedge player. Good putter. Had a top 10 in the fall. I think late in the fall. I'm not looking at it, but I think he had a top 10 late in the fall and followed that up with some missed cuts. But I think this could be a good event for him. He's played here 2 or 3 times. So he's one to interesting. And then Adam Schenk is down there as just a cut maker. The guy just seems to make a lot of cuts. Hasn't really come out with top 10s or anything like that consistently, but he seems to make a lot of cuts, especially in this weak field. Schenk may be a cut maker down there in the 6K, but that's all I got. I mean, Gim is my favorite, and then I did have Malnati. So that would be it for me.
Okay.
Listen, let's get into some sportsbook talk. We got some outrights tonight. I got some top 10s, maybe some top 20s. Heck, there's even some matchups out tonight late on a Monday, which I'm really excited about, Pat. I'm very excited about that. Before we get to that, let's remind the listeners that if they need some help, there's no better place to get it than our friends that sponsor this podcast at BetterHelp. If you're looking for somebody to talk to, somebody to help you get some good counsel, some wise counsel. If you're unhappy, if you're depressed, whatever. 2021 is not off to a kick and start. Like, let's all be real damn honest with ourselves. It's not like we turn the page and 2021 is just now amazing, right? It's been a really, really garbage couple of 10 days here of 2021 already. So we understand that that people can benefit from getting some good help, and we saw BetterHelp. We're like, hey, it's not something that we take lightly, and it's something that a lot of people could benefit from. If you need some help, there's no better place to go than BetterHelp.com. So we want to let you know you can connect with a professional counselor. You can send a message anytime. You get some. You can set up a session. You can make appointments. It's super easy. Way more affordable than traditional offline counseling. They're licensed professional counselors dealing in all kind of stuff. And anything you share is obviously confidential. So we want you to start living a happier life today. And as a listener, you get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/Tour Junkies. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. And that is BetterHelp, HELP.com/Tour Junkies. Get you that help you need. Marcus, I think, could use something. I know that for sure. I know that one for sure. That's one customer they need right there is Marcus.
It's
and I don't mind saying that. I don't mind saying that, Mark.
Hey, they're doing a good thing over there at BetterHelp. And here's the thing: is that is one of the issues in this country that I personally believe is not addressed enough. Everybody needs to feel comfortable to go get help when they need it. So that's just all I'll say about that.
Yeah, let's talk about some sports betting picks for the Sony. Some outrights, man. We were so close last week with freaking Neiman. Oh God. Let's talk about it. Who's your ankle to the putter? Your ankle to the putter. Putter to the ankle play. I said it last week. I'm going to keep the theme going. If you miss this pick, if you miss the one pick, so it's probably a shorter odds guy. If you miss the one pick, somebody gets to take a putter straight to your ankle on Sunday night. Who would it be? You got maybe another way to look at it. You got $100 and you can only put it on one golfer to win. Who is the guy?
For me this week, it is going to be Sungjae M.
Dude.
And I love it at BetMGM.
I wrote it down right next to M's name, ankle to putter play.
Yep. He's a guy on BetMGM. He's at 22-1. I like that number for him. So he will be, definitely the putter to the ankle guy.
Yeah, total agreement there. I mean, I think in terms of just overall value plus win equity, I think Sungjae is definitely one of the better bets on the board. Yep, love that. Who else you got kind of in the shorter to mid-range?
Shorter to mid-range, I also throw out a guy that we talked about in DFS, and that is Kevin Kisner. You can get him at 30-1. He is also on BetMGM. I think that's a great number for him also, so I will take him. And then another guy we mentioned late in the show, I thought he was going to slide by under the radar in the DFS
Chalk Donkey.
I'm going with that. Charles Howell at 50-1 on PointsBet. I think that's a good number there. So in the mid to lower range.
You think he's going to win? You think he could possibly win for the fourth time on the PGA Tour in 30 years?
I think he can, especially on a course that he's what'd you say made the cut 19 out of 20 years here?
19 of 19. Yeah.
Okay, so 19 of 90. So I definitely think he can win. Yeah, I certainly think he can.
I would love to see him do it. I don't think I'm prepared to bet on the outright. Definitely feels like a top 10, top 20 bet for me. But I also wrote down Kisner. We talk about how much we like Kiz on the DFS side. I mean, he loves Waialae. He's on the record loving Waialae, and he's also on the record of saying how much more comfortable he feels playing Waialae when he's had a chance to play Kapalua the week before, which he just did. So this play suits him much, much, much better. He'll be able to play to his strengths a little better than he did at Kapalua. So I think the Sony Open is a great spot for Kiz to get a victory, and I do like the number at 30-1. Actually, there's another guy at 30-1 that I think, is a pretty good value. He's like a Goodwill gold mine. It's like you go over to TJ Maxx and find a Callaway shirt. You know what I mean? Like you're flipping through the racks and you see a darn polo, or like a Chaps shirt, Ralph Lauren, and then you find a Callaway. You're a golfer, right? And then you find like a Callaway polo, and you're like, damn. And it's athletic material and all this stuff, and it's got like a cool color block on it, and you think you got a steal from the Goodwill. I think that's Ryan Palmer this week. I talked about him on the DFS show. 30-1. I mean, the guy back-to-back fourth-place finishes his last 2 events, including last week at Kapalua. Guess what? He also finished 4th here last year at the Sony Open. He's won this event in 2010. I mean, he's come a long way since 2010, winning at 250 to 1. But 30 to 1, I think, is actually a deal. I think it's actually a deal. I mean, when you look at the names above him at 30 to 1, Abraham Answer. I like old Abe, and this is definitely a better course for Abe than last week was. But Abe's all about the putter. If the putter's not on, you can, it's just not happening. I like him better than Abe at 28 to 1. I like him actually better than the defending champ Cam Smith at 28 to 1. I like him definitely as much as Kiz, which are the same number, but I just think Palmer's a good value. I think he's ready to win again. And he could have done it Sunday. Remember late Sunday, if he birdied 17 and then eagled 18, which a lot of people were doing on 18 towards the end, he could have won it, Ryan Palmer. So
I don't know what it is. I just don't. I can't get on board the Palmer train. I'm tired of hearing about Ryan Palmer.
Come on, man. I mean, it's paid off. It's paid off. All right, moving up a little bit. I talked about both of these guys. Both guys played last week at the Century Tournament of Champions. Both guys have played this event at the Sony Open, but Sebastian Munoz at 50 to 1 on PointsBet is a number that I really like. Carlos Ortiz at 80 to 1 on Bet Rivers is another name. If you talk about these two guys, both of them hit the ball plenty long, but good drives gained, that stat we talked about from Fantasy National. So drives that are either in the fairway or they're not so in jail that they don't hit the green in regulation. Both of these guys do that really well. Ortiz coming off a victory just a few weeks ago back in the fall, riding some confidence. 80 to 1, I think, is a big number for him. So that was really what drew me to Ortiz, was the number. But I think Munoz is another good value. I think similar to Ryan Palmer, I think 50 to 1 is very nice. I would definitely pull the trigger on Munoz as low as 40 in this field, the way he's been playing, the confidence that he's got. So those are a couple of the mid-range guys before we get into the bombs.
Okay. That's all I got mid-range. I got a couple bombs for you there.
Who are your bombs?
Couple bombs. I'll start with old Tom Hoge at 100 to 1. He's a guy that we've seen have some success here. He finished 12th last year at the Sony. He finished 3rd a couple years ago in 2018. He's been in pretty good recent form. I think that he's a good approach player. So I think that's worth a few dollars there at 100 to 1. And then your boy Stewart Cink at 125 to 1. Here's the thing I like about that number. It's not just that Cink has been playing well lately. We've seen that he's added some distance and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he is 125 to 1 on PointsBet. He's 80 to 1 on BetMGM. So if you get him at 125 to 1 on PointsBet, you're getting a way better number, a lot more value there, and obviously some win equity. We've seen him win against a field somewhat similar to this, maybe not quite as strong, back in the fall. So I like some Cink there at 125 to 1. That's probably the longest odds guy I got.
How sexy is Stewart Cink right now? Like he's like the older mom that you didn't really pay much attention to until she got like a really good doctor to give her some new, front end, some new like bolt-ons, and maybe
front end assets.
Yeah, some front end assets, and maybe like a really good, like a not an overdone, but like a little facelift. Like that's kind of what I feel like Stewie Cink has turned into, man. Like he's found some distance. He's got his son on the back, so he's like vibing out there with his baby boy, and he's like sharing the ropes with him, and there's just like father-son energy going on, and then he's just bombing the piss out of it all over the place and like winning events. And then his interviews, he's so laid back. It's like, yeah, I got, it's like, I don't know. He's just got a fresh look about it. It's like Stifler's mom in American Pie back in the day. You just got it just took you one day and you finally were like, okay, I see it. I see you, Stewie. I see you. And I can't take my eyes off them front bags you got on there, dude. God, dog, I'm going to bet Stewart Cink till the cows come home now. I'm all riled up.
Whew.
Yeah.
Man, you need to calm down. You need some water or something.
He's definitely he's turned a corner. God bless America.
I think you got to run it too while it's hot.
Yeah, ride that thing.
Something could happen. Something could happen. You know, because he's getting older. Like some other body part could go bad all of a sudden.
He could get an infection or some bacterial thing. Okay. Well, the last one I love is Sepp Straka. 125-1. Talked about him in the DFS side. Sepp is going to win on the PGA Tour. He's going to win in 2021. There's just not a chance that he doesn't. He's too talented. He's too good a ball striker. He's too good of a scorer. I think this event is going to get back to, 19, 20 under winning this thing. And I think Sepp Straka can turn around and do it in a field, in a tournament like that, in a field like this. His irons are so sharp. He's 125-1 on points bet. So I think Sepp Straka is the man there. In fact, I got him at a 11-1 top 10 bet as well. I feel really good about that one. I got some top 10s I want to throw out. Henrik Norlander. We talked about him, the interview we did with him. He absolutely loves this place. Now, if you haven't watched the interview with Henrik Norlander, he did say two things. Number one, he loves Waialae. Number two, he tends to play his best golf in his third or fourth event. This is obviously his first event coming off of a little hiatus, but I do know he's been practicing. He's been working hard at Champions Retreat. So 11-1 for a top 10. Great ball striker is Henrik Norlander, and he does love Waialae. And I think he's got a top 10 here before. So 11-1 for him, 11-1 for Straka. I can't go this podcast without saying his name. 11-1 for Cam Davis. I just have to say his name. He's too good. He's too talented. He's too beautiful, and he's too Australian, and he hits it a long way, and he scores, and he's played well here once before. I love it. Another top 10 that I like, and this to me is a big time value. 20-1 Luke List for a top 10. Now, 20-1. Think about that. Would you, if I told you that, one of these names was going to be 20-1, and I said Norlander, Straka, Davis, or List, which one you would List might be your last choice. Maybe you would think Davis. Maybe. I just think it's a really good number for Luke List in the top 10. He can pop, and he's got upside, and he actually plays well on, even though he's super long, he has shown that he can play well on shorter golf courses. And then a top 20 is Doug Gim at 6-1, because I've always been on Doug Gim, and I nailed him out of college. So 6-1, top 20 for Doug Gim, I think is a nice play. Do you have any of those top 10s, top 20s?
No, not right now. I might later in the week.
All right, let's we do have Pontificate with Pat coming tonight, and I'm really excited about that. Why don't we just get into that? We were going to do some PGA Championship futures, but I think we just get straight into Pontificate. I'm all lathered up talking about Stewart Cink, and I don't know that I can focus enough on my bets. I'm ready to just sit back and hear the thoughts of one Patrick H. Perry that have just crossed your mind that you want to share with the people.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't so low on the beer right now, but that's okay. That's okay. I got a few here that I need to talk to you people about. I need to talk to y'all. First off, go ahead. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, if the people want to tune out here, don't. This could be one of the best parts of the whole night. The picks could be absolute garbage.
So a couple things here. We live in a world where everything needs to be right at your fingertips. Okay. You've got everything right there. Everybody needs everything so fast and furious, and you can order takeout, right? You can do everything right then.
Yeah.
And what would you say is the start of that?
The internet.
But what would you say? You say like the iPhone or those phones, like that kind of stuff?
The smartphone. Yeah.
No, it's not. You're wrong.
Oh,
You know what it is? What
is it?
The thing that started that revolution is the TV remote. That's what did it. Once the TV remote came out, laziness, the movement to laziness in America grew. Okay, because then you didn't have to get up, change the channel, and things like that. So everybody wants to talk about.
You had to get up to change the channel?
Yeah, without a remote. If you didn't have a remote, you had to get up. You had to, turn the channel. So the TV remote was really the start of the laziness of America when it comes to having everything at your fingertips. Not the phones, not internet. Everybody wants to talk about that. It's really the TV remote is what I think. Okay.
Okay, I think that's
wrong. You can't change my mind on that.
Yeah, but I think you're wrong.
No, I'm right. Okay. TV remote started it all. Okay, here's another thing I've been thinking about.
Josh Kistler just said, when I close my eyes, I swear I can hear my pawpaw. Or papaw. Sorry, papaw. I think that's pronounced papaw.
You got to get papaw. Here's another thing that I just think, and this is about America too. America's a free country. Okay. We created things like rock and roll and baseball and all those kind of stuff. So, we're a free country. We're free thinkers and all that kind of stuff. So why in the hell, when I am growing up and I'm taking a standardized test, did I have to use a damn number 2 pencil? I don't even know what a number 2 pencil does. Like, what's the difference between a number 2 pencil, a number 1 pencil, and a number 3 pencil? Why was I told I got to use a number 2 pencil? There is no way you can say that if I use a number 3 pencil on a standardized test, that for some reason I was going to get bad grades. Yet we were all taught to believe.
No, you weren't going to get bad grades. You were going the thing would be able to
read the paper. I don't believe that.
That's science, Pat. That's just science, man. I don't know what to tell you.
People said that number 2 pencils were the best thing ever, and I feel bad for all the number 1 and the number 3 pencils out there.
Now you're being 2021 woke. Now you feel sorry for the number 1 pencils. That one was not your best stuff.
I'm sorry, one? Number 2 pencils. I hate them. Here's another one, and I've written about this before, but sometimes not everybody reads the chalk bomb and things like that, but.
It probably won't.
You should. If you don't read the chalk bomb, you should, because we put Pontificate in almost, pretty much every week. The escape button on a keyboard.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the hell the escape button's for. I don't know. I really don't. I don't understand what it's for. It sits there. It's in the top left-hand corner. I feel like I feel like when do you press the escape button?
I feel like pressing it right now, as I'm sure some listeners probably do as well, but I'm not. Yeah, but I don't know. I've never used it.
I feel like the only thing I feel like the escape button is just to get out of something, but even that doesn't work on my computer. I can hit escape right now all day long, and it won't get me out of here. So,
what would you replace it with? What would you replace that space with?
Maybe they could come up with something really cool that could make some cool noises and shit. I don't know. Maybe if you hit the escape button, somebody would come out of nowhere and bring you a drink.
Pat, that's like the Jetsons, man. Like, it's got to be a basic ass button on your MacBook.
Okay, well, if you hit the escape button, then it gives you all the golfers that are, checking the box and strokes gained approach and whatever.
So customizable button. Okay.
Okay. Here's another one that I thought about. I told you about this one earlier this week or last week. What is it with these local businesses?
Yeah.
That create these commercials and they put their damn kids on the commercial, especially like a car dealership or something like that. I cannot stand that. First off, your kid, you may think he's cute or she, but they're probably not as cute as you think they are. And they're terrible actors. They're terrible. That's the worst part. They're terrible actors. And it just turns people off. I don't want to buy from, Joe car dealership guy with his 2, kids on there, annoying the hell out of me.
His 2 sleazy kids, man. His 2 sleazy kids. No, I do hate this. You did bring this up, and this is legit. Pat was like literally called me fired up about this, and that's when I was like, dude, this is a pontificate thought. Just stop. But that is legit. It's bad enough that people like local commercials exist in general. The local commercials are the absolute worst. And just when you think it only happens in your local town or city, No, go somewhere else. Go on a vacation. Turn on the TV, local news or something pops up, and then you get some local furniture commercial that is an absolute disaster. But when it's one thing when just the adults, the grown people are up there sucking it up. But I agree. When they add their kids, it's the worst. Like, what I'm trying to think of, like, if you could pick a PGA Tour pro who retires from golf, doesn't play the Champions Tour, sets up a small business, which one is more likely to put their kid in the damn commercial? Who if you're still watching this video, in the chat, type in the PGA Tour pro who would be the most likely to include their kid in a commercial about their business. I mean, everything in my brain wants to say Bryson, just because that seems like a really Bryson, like
Zach
passing
Johnson.
on the douchiness.
Zach Johnson popped in my head for some reason.
No, it'd probably be Webb, because Webb's just a super nice guy and he's like a family guy and he wants to appeal to all the people who have a butt ton of kids. He'd have like all of his kids. He's got he's like the Phillip Rivers of golf. He's got all these kids running around in his video. It might be him, but I definitely think Bryson would think that his kid was like the next Kirk Cameron. That was a 90s reference, not current Kirk Cameron, but like 90s Kirk Cameron.
Yeah. I think someone like Bubba too. Bubba would do it.
Stewart Cink, we talked about him. It might be his son. He loves propping up his son in the press conferences.
Yeah. Anyway, I just those commercials drive me up the wall. I just can't stand them. This is more of kind of like just a PSA, just an announcement that I need to make, and maybe people can help me out here. But in this day,
you need better help. You need BetterHelp.com.
I need better help right now. So in these COVID times, we have a lot more like takeout orders that we're doing. All this contactless delivery and all that kind of stuff, and drive-throughs, not eating in restaurants and things like that. I don't know what it is. It's like technology for me, DB, but
it's terrible.
I always get my takeout orders are never good, or never right. Like they always F it up. And drive-throughs the same way. It always gets F'd up. So I don't know if there's like some like way that you should be ordering, drive-throughs and takeout orders, like doing certain things first versus whatever. I don't know, but I suck at ordering through the drive-through and takeout. It just doesn't ever work out for me. Yeah,
you're pretty cursed in general with stuff like that. But I think a lot of it is because when you're hitting these drive-throughs, you are obliterated late in the evening, and you think that you said one thing and then they got your order wrong. But in actuality, you said the right thing. And then by the time they got you your order, you forgot what you said, or you thought you said something different. So I think that's
don't know.
Probably a call for BetterHelp.com.
I think everybody should have to order by number. I feel like if you're going through the McDonald's drive-through and you don't order by a number, you just can't. You can't order. You don't. I don't want any. I don't want any changes in the order. I want no ketchup. Only pickles. I just want everybody to have to say, I want a number one. If you're at Chick-fil-A, I want the number one. Or if you're at McDonald's, it'd be the number 9 because that's a 2 cheeseburger meal. I mean, if you want, that's what you say. You say, I want a number 9, and then you say your drink, and then you're done. That's it. There's no adding all this other crap into people's orders. I can't stand it.
I don't agree with that. I think that's a terrible idea.
There you go. That's all I got.
Thank you. Yeah, that was great. Thanks for pontificating with us. Thank you for sharing that with us. We hope that you, your paw self, get some of that stuff worked out in your own brain. And I do think our friends at BetterHelp could help you if you want to work through some of that. I'm sure they've never had a call about, someone pissing and moaning and getting worked up about people not ordering only by numbers at drive-through windows. That would be a fun one to maybe throw out there. So that is the podcast for the Sony Open 2021, the Tour Junkies. We're here to, throw out some picks, throw out some names, throw out some stats, unless you're Marcus, and have a little fun. That's what we're here for. Just trying to bring a little bit of humor to what you're doing every single week. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. We'll see you in the Nut Hut. Be sure and get in there. It's so much fun. Check out the Chalk Bomb. Check out all the videos coming out this week. Pat's video, Ben's video. It's going to be a good time. We appreciate it. May your screens be green. See ya.
Out.